Hi,
Hello.
it's Make a Difference.
Make a difference.
Yes, Make a Difference here on MBS Radio 95.4 FM every Sunday at 8 p.m.
And Wednesday at 9:30 p.m.
Jump off your sofa
Or lay back and relax.
anywhere you are from your radio or in your earphones.
Stay tuned on MBS Radio 95.4. Listen to Make a Difference.
Our English speaking program brought to you by
Gina,
and Tom.
off we go. Dear friends, fellows, followers, and listeners, good evening. This is Andrina hosting our English speaking program Make a Difference, broadcasted weekly on MBS Radio 95.4, along with Tom. Hi, Tom.
Glad to speak to you again, Gina. Good evening, ladies. Delighted to speak to you again, gentlemen, in our weekly rendezvous Make a Difference, first broadcast of the month of May. As usual, here are the headlines. We will first take you on a journey through the sunny tides of the highlights, in which we will point out a few interesting facts about this beautiful month of May. Then let us shoot to the moon by listening to the very historic and challenging speech that President Kennedy gave on September 1962. And of course, Gina, we will listen to a song. This time I think you people know it. It is James Taylor's You've Got a Friend.
And of course, Tom, we will proceed with our English language tutorial, The Hint. Today we will focus on the gerund and the infinitive. What are verbs that require the ing form or the infinitive? We picked up some of the common ones for you this evening. As a dessert, we will give you one very useful idiom to use in your English. Stay with us.
Tom speaking, presenting the highlights. As time flies, we are stepping into a new month, the month of May. In Madagascar, the rainy season is ending and the rice is ripe for harvest, causing all the rice crops around Antananarivo to bear a beautiful golden color. Fifth month of the Gregorian calendar, May 2020 marks our entry into the 7th week of confinement, and specifically for the Islamic community, the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan. The thing we share in common is that this will take some faith, again some discipline, and some courage for all of us to go through it. But you know what? I could see what you've done so far through social networks, that you are all doing well, showing a lot of courage, creativity, and adaptability to address the situation. Therefore, I'm not worried. You people are awesome. By the way, thank you for liking our Facebook page and following us on TuneIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Your growing number motivates us and gives us courage to continue and improve. Now, a brief almanac of the month of May. This year, the month of May will count 4 or maybe 5 main holidays. The Workers' Day, obviously, that we celebrated on the 1st of May. The Ascension Day will be on the 21st of May. The Eid, Muslim feast of the end of the holy month of Ramadan, will probably be celebrated between the 23rd and the 24th of May, depending on the moon. Pentecost will be celebrated on the 31st of May 2020. Oh, and I forgot that important day for the Rastafari community, May the 11th. I give thanks and praise, brother. I give thanks and praise. Now, why not a bit of history for us to know what the month of May was named after? Did you know it was named after the Greek goddess Maya? Adopted and adapted by the Romans, the month of May is, according to another belief, named after the Elder Ones, or Maiores in Latin language. Yet, the same logic applies to the month of June, named after the goddess Juno, or according to another belief, after the young ones or juniors. Nevertheless, the Roman Emperor Julius Caesar found himself great enough to decide that the 7th month, originally called Quintilis, will be named after himself, becoming the month of July. Later, the Emperor August found it fair enough to name the 8th month of the Gregorian calendar after him, that you have guessed is now called August. Well, a lot of bargain game based on naming month after yourself. Well, back to the month of May. So, may or may not give you the right Mayday to a Mayday call, but it may make a paycheck that you may check when you get it all. Yes, here we will end up with this poem that was a little bit of culture tonight in Make a Difference, MBS 95.4. Let us move on to the speech.
Okay, now let's listen to another inspiring speech. This time we will listen to the speech given by President John Fitzgerald Kennedy on September 12, 1962 at the Rice University Stadium. It takes a great place in history because it was the moment when President Kennedy addressed the people and the whole world to announce the intention and the challenge to land people on the moon, beginning of the space project that triggered the Apollo mission. Enjoy.
President Pitzer, Mr. Vice President, Governor, Congressman Thomas, Senator Wiley and Congressman Miller, Mr. Webb, Mr. Bell, scientists, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your President having made me an honorary visiting professor, and I will assure you that my first lecture will be very brief. I am delighted to be here, and I'm particularly delighted to be here on this occasion. We meet at a college noted for knowledge, in a city noted for progress, in a state noted for strength, and we stand in need of all three. For we meet in an hour of change and challenge, in a decade of hope and fear, in an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. Despite the striking fact that most of the scientists that the world has ever known are alive and working today, despite the fact that this nation's own scientific manpower is doubling every 12 years in a rate of growth more than 3 times that of our population as a whole, despite that, the vast stretches of the unknown and the unanswered and the unfinished still far outstrip our collective comprehension. No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come. But condense, if you will, the 50,000 years of man's recorded history in a time span of but a half a century. Stated in these terms, we know very little about the first 40 years, except at the end of them, advanced man had learned to use the skins of animals to cover them. Then about 10 years ago, under this standard, man emerged from his caves to construct other kinds of shelter. Only 5 years ago, man learned to write and use a cart with wheels. Christianity began less than 2 years ago. The printing press came this year. And then less than 2 months ago, during this whole 50-year span of human history, the steam engine provided a new source of power. Newton explored the meaning of gravity. Last month, electric lights and telephones and automobiles and airplanes became available. Only last week did we develop penicillin and television and nuclear power. And now, if America's new spacecraft succeeds in reaching Venus, we will have literally reached the stars before midnight tonight. This is a breathtaking pace, and such a pace cannot help but create new ills as it dispels old. New ignorance, new problems, new dangers. Surely the opening vistas of space promise high costs and hardships, as well as high reward. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer, to rest, to wait. But this city of Houston, this state of Texas, this country of the United States was not built by those who waited and rested and wished to look behind them. This country was conquered by those who move forward, and so will space. William Bradford, speaking in 1630 of the founding of the Plymouth Bay Colony, said that all great and honorable actions are accompanied with great difficulties, and both must be enterprised and overcome with answerable courage. If this capsule history of our progress teaches us anything, it is that man in his quest for knowledge and progress is determined and cannot be deterred. The exploration of space will go ahead, whether we join in it or not. And it is one of the great adventures of all time. And no nation which expects to be the leader of other nations can expect to stay behind in this race for space. Those who came before us made certain that this country rode the first waves of the Industrial Revolution, the first waves of modern invention, and the first wave of nuclear power. And this generation does not intend to founder in the backwash of the coming age of space. We mean to be a part of it. We mean to lead it. For the eyes of the world now look into space, to the moon and to the planets beyond. And we have vowed that we shall not see it governed by a hostile flag of conquest, but by a banner of freedom and peace. We have vowed that we shall not see space filled with weapons of mass destruction, but with instruments of knowledge and understanding. Yet the vows of this nation can only be fulfilled if we in this nation are first, and therefore we intend to be first. In short, our leadership in science and industry, our hopes for peace and security, our obligations to ourselves as well as others, all require us to make this effort, to solve these mysteries, to solve them for the good of all men, and to become the world's leading spacefaring nation. We set sail on this new sea, because there is new knowledge to be gained and new rights to be won, and they must be won and used for the progress of all people. For space science, like nuclear science and all technology, has no conscience of its own. Whether it will become a force for good or ill depends on man. And only if the United States occupies a position of preeminence can we help decide whether this new ocean will be a sea of peace or a new terrifying theater of war. I do not say that we should or will go unprotected against the hostile misuse of space any more than we go unprotected against the hostile use of land or sea. But I do say that space can be explored and mastered without feeding the fires of war, without repeating the mistakes that man has made in extending his writ around this globe of ours. There is no strife, no prejudice, no national conflict in outer space as yet. Its hazards are hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of all mankind, and its opportunity for peaceful cooperation may never come again. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Interesting recording, isn't it? As you just heard, ladies and gentlemen, President John Fitzgerald Kennedy gave that speech in order to announce the beginning of the space program aiming at the conquest and exploration of the moon. In my point of view, it was formal but very easy to understand. I really appreciate the first part in which the president explained, using very simple words, the way progress is getting faster and faster over the last centuries and decades. And of course, the second part refers to American history, reminding the audience that the conquest of their country and all the progress they made costed a lot of efforts and endeavors to their forefathers. Consequently, future challenges and successes are for those who roll up their sleeves and apply themselves, not for those who stand around and wait. Many lessons of courage and determination are to be learned from this speech. What do you think? As our country and the world is facing hardship of difficulties, we thought it would be good to have a look at the past. This will remind us that that's not the first time the whole mankind is challenged by its own nature, and that we owe our health, our wealth, and our lifestyle to other human beings in the past who fought for a better world. So keep it up and smile. Now stay tuned and listen to our song, Stacey Kent's cover of James Taylor's song, You've Got a Friend.
When you're down and troubled and you need a helping hand, and nothing, oh nothing is going right, close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. All you got to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. If the sky above you should turn dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind should begin to blow, keep your head together and call my name out loud. Soon you'll hear me knocking upon your door. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. Ain't it good to know that you've got a friend when people can be so cold? They'll hurt you and desert you. Well, they'll take your soul if you let them. Oh, but don't you let them. Call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. Yeah, you've got a friend. You've got a friend.
That was You've Got a Friend, as you said, Gina. That was Stacey Kent's cover of that famous song by James Taylor. I dedicate it to all my friends and to you, dear listeners. As you all know that song like the back of your hands, I chose that jazzy bossa nova version with that beautiful vocal interpretation. Hope it will help you sleep well tonight. What can I say? That's a message from a person you can lean on anytime you need someone to talk to comfort you, someone to lean on. Ain't it good to know that you've got a friend? People can be so cold, they hurt you and desert you, and they'll take your soul if you let them, but don't you let them. Friendship is important in hardship. As for me, many times friends turned out to be more reliable and helpful than your family itself, especially when you face trouble and can't confide in your relatives because they are far or because they are involved in your troubles. So thank you guys for being always around me, despite all my imperfections. I'll try to be that one you can count on, as I could count on you in many occasions. So, as the lyrics go, keep your head together and call my name out loud, and soon you'll hear me knocking upon your door, or maybe call you on the phone, or PM you, or SMS you. That was You've Got a Friend, tonight's song choice. Thanks for your likes, messages, and comments. Stay tuned, and jingle!
We will proceed with our English language tutorial, the hint. As we mentioned earlier, today we will focus on the gerund and the infinitive. What are verbs that require the ing form or the infinitive when using them? We picked up some of the common ones for you this evening. And to finish, we will give you one very useful idiom to use in your English. Okay, so these are very common verbs that we need to remember what to use after them. So let's start with verb number 1, is the verb to remember. The verb to remember will require the use of a gerund after it. So when you use the verb to remember, then the verb that follows it will take the ing form. Let me give you an example. I still remember buying my first car. I still remember buying my first car. Okay, the next verb is the verb to forget. When you use the verb to forget, it will take the infinitive for the verb that follows. Let me give you an example. Don't forget to lock the door when you leave. Don't forget to lock the door when you leave. The next verb that we have picked up, verb number 3, is a verb to enjoy. To enjoy. Alright? After the verb to enjoy, the verb that follows will take the ing form. As an example, I enjoyed watching the movie. I enjoyed watching the movie. Let's move on to the next one, verb number 4, the verb to avoid. After the verb to avoid, the next verb will take the ing form. Let me give you the example. She avoided meeting them because she was in a hurry to leave. She avoided meeting them because she was in a hurry to leave. The next verb is the verb to promise. After the verb to promise, the verb that follows will be in the infinitive. Let me give you an example. You promised to buy me a diamond necklace for my birthday. You promised to buy me a diamond necklace for my birthday. The next verb is the verb to agree. After the verb to agree, the verb that follows will be in the infinitive. Let me give you an example. She has agreed to come. She has agreed to come. The next verb is the verb to thank. Alright? Every time when you use the verb to thank, we use the preposition for after. To thank for. After using it, the next verb will take the ing form. Let me give you an example. I thanked them for helping me out. I thanked them for helping me out. Verb number 8, the verb to expect. After using the verb to expect, then the following verb will be in the infinitive. As an example, I expect him to call at 4 o'clock. I expect him to call at 4 o'clock. Let's move on to the number 9, the verb to help. After the verb to help, this is an exception. You don't have the infinitive, you don't have the ing. Sometimes we may tend to think of either the infinitive or the ing form. Here, it doesn't take either of them. So, let me give you the example. Many people help the government share the face masks. Many people help the government share the face masks. Okay, the last verb is the verb to like. For the verb to like, when you talk about your likes or dislikes or hobbies or anything like that, then it may take both the ing form or the infinitive. For example, I like to play basketball, or I like playing basketball. But when you have would like before the verb to like, for example, in a question, then it will be always with the infinitive. For example, would you like to come with us? Would you like to come with us? All right, that is then what we can offer concerning the gerund and the infinitive. Please remember those verbs mentioned earlier. Okay, and as I already told you, the last thing I would like to give you to finish with the hint for today is an idiom. In one piece. In one piece. What is that? If someone or something is in one piece, especially after a dangerous journey or experience, they are safe and not damaged or injured. And then you can say, in one piece. Let me give you 3 examples. While playing soccer in the street yesterday evening, the kids in my neighborhood hit the ball and it ran into my window pane, making a loud sound, but fortunately, the pane of glass was still in one piece. John was taking snaps of bride and bridegroom with his mobile camera at a wedding ceremony when he accidentally dropped his phone on the ground, but he was glad to see that it was still in one piece. Please slow down, Susan told the driver. I want to reach home in one piece. Please slow down, Susan told the driver. I want to reach home in one piece. Well, that's the end of our program for today. Talk to you again with another program next time. Bye everyone.
Hi,
Hello.
it's Make a Difference.
Make a difference.
Yes, Make a Difference here on MBS Radio 95.4 FM every Sunday at 8 p.m.
And Wednesday at 9:30 p.m.
Jump off your sofa
Or lay back and relax.
anywhere you are from your radio or in your earphones.
Stay tuned on MBS Radio 95.4. Listen to Make a Difference.
Our English speaking program brought to you by
Gina,
and Tom.
off we go.